going so I can share my screen and we will be good to go. Welcome everybody. As you're filing in, I would love to know in the chat where you are connecting from. Hi, Terry. Hi, Yvonne. Gay. Whoa, we have lots of people named iPad and iPhone, so I'm sorry. I don't know your actual name. Hi, David. Welcome. Katy, Texas. Amazing. Is that anywhere near Fort Worth? I was just there a few days ago. Veronica from San Diego. Welcome, Veronica. And I'm going to be sharing my screen. Hopefully not, just my screen in just a moment. Welcome. Hi, Margaret. Hello. Oh, you're closer to Houston. Okay. Well, haven't been to Houston in quite a while, but I was in Texas, and I did sit on a longhorn cow, bull, whatever you call them, and that was amazing. And I got my dad to sit on one. He's early 70s, so I was impressed he could get up there. Welcome, Mel. Welcome, Jesse. Yes, they are longhorns. Awesome. Yeah, it was fun. Okay, so I've got TikTok going. I've got YouTube going. I've got the Zoom room going. So if it looks like I'm looking somewhere else or responding to someone else, it may be because I am. And we're going to get started in just one more minute. So as people are filing in, I would love to know in the chat where you're from and also what your thoughts are about loneliness. What are your thoughts about loneliness? And for people in the Zoom room with me, you can either choose to respond to everyone or you can choose to just respond to host and panelist. Yvonne says loneliness sucks. All right. Yes, it does. That is a thought. Hi, Pamela. Okay, we're right at the top of the hour and we have a lot to go through today. So, I am a faith-based person, and so I like to start with a prayer because that's important to me. So we will start with that. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for our time together and just the ability to share with others what I have learned and what has been helpful for me and other people. And I just ask that you would bring peace and comfort to each person's heart who's here today or who may be watching this later, and that you would allow them to find even just one thing, just one next step that they could take in order to help overcome loneliness and to feel connected both with you and with people around them. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Okay. All right. We have James is from Metro Detroit. Amazing. We have James. I have another Brave Widow client who's in the Detroit area. Debbie, New Jersey. Loneliness is tough. I sometimes feel it even when I'm with other people. Yes. iPad, what is your name? Tell us. From Loganville, Georgia. So Tammy asks me, are you a nurse? I am not a nurse, but I'm going to tell you my story here in just a moment. I worked in healthcare for 20 years. Kirk. Oh, hello, Kirk. All right, so today I'm going to share my story. I know we have several people who registered who don't know me, have no idea who I am. A lot of times I get questions if I'm actually a widow. Spoiler alert, the answer is yes. And so I'm just going to share my story. I'm going to share the problem that causes us, like exacerbates loneliness and grief, and the solution. And I'm going to give you 3 simple steps. Okay. We're going to make it as simple as possible for ways that you can overcome loneliness. And then, if it's okay with you guys, at the end, I would like to share with you about the Brave Widow Academy and what all we do there, and invite you to join us. And because I'm a life coach, and because I encourage people to make decisions and take action, I have some fast action bonuses for you, which means if you take action here in the next few days, I have some bonuses that I'm giving away. So if you'd like to hear about that, just put a yes in the chat and I will cover that at the end. Okay. All right. If you're not in the Zoom room with me, so all my friends, we got 70 plus on TikTok. Here, if you are not in the room with me, you cannot see my screen, but here on my screen is a picture of me and my family. I am so happy to share that today I do love my life. And today I have the best job in the world, which is getting to help widows and walk with people on this journey. But if you would have asked me 4 years ago, I never would have imagined that I would be able to sit here in this chair on these streams on the Zoom. In July of 2021, I watched as an ambulance took my best friend and husband just 3 weeks before our 20th wedding anniversary. The ambulance took him from our home, never to return again. And I remember telling my kids at the time, like, it's going to be okay. They're taking him to the hospital, and hospitals are where people go to get better, right? I'd worked in healthcare for 20 years, managing hospitals all across the United States. So I had a very high confidence level in the healthcare system. And we had been sick with COVID, and that morphed into double pneumonia for both of us for a couple of weeks. And ultimately, he would be placed in ICU. I would not be allowed to go see him. And ultimately, I was called to the hospital to talk about next steps on this road to recovery, only to learn that there would be none. There would be no kindness. There would be no warmth. There wasn't even a cordial smile. The physician would simply look at me across the table and say, "We think your husband is brain dead." And we would run some tests. And in that moment, I remember like my world just stopped spinning, and I try to wrap my mind around like, how did we get here? Like, he was doing better. How did we get here? And how am I supposed to go home and tell my 4 teenagers that their dad ultimately had died? So our wedding, our 20th wedding anniversary was August 11th. It was 3 weeks after Nathan died. And we were planning on having family and friends over for a big celebration of our 20th wedding anniversary. And you can see, if you're in Zoom with me, you can see the t-shirt. I ordered t-shirts, 20 years married, Nathan and Emily. And so 3 weeks later, while I was expecting to face that day, happy as a wife of 20 years, I still had family and friends over, but I faced that day crushed as a young widow and now solo mom to 4 teenagers. About a year later, I had this, as you can see, this memorial garden. I had this built for my husband, Nathan, and I put a park bench out in the garden. And I thought, oh, this is a great idea. I'll be able to sit out in this garden and just remember all of the great times that we had. And it'll just be this beautiful tribute to the love that we shared. And instead of feeling comforted by this, I actually felt tormented by it. I felt reminded every day. It was just like another reminder that he was never coming back. And so I remember in particular one afternoon, fall afternoon, I was sitting on that bench right there and I was like doubled over and I was like clutching my chest. My chest was so like I was sobbing from the pit of my stomach. You know, that guttural, horrible cry where you just cannot cry anymore. And my chest hurt so bad that I thought, like, this is it. This is how I die. Like, this is how spouses die of a broken heart. And after a while, the tears stopped, as they always do. And I remember sitting back up and just looking around and feeling like I wanted to no longer be here. And then after a while, I thought about our 4 kids, and I thought about how it was just really sad that not only had they lost one parent, but effectively it was like they had lost two. Because even though I was still alive, I felt dead on the inside. I felt like a hollow shell of the person that I was, and I really just didn't want to do it anymore. And so there was a moment that I had compassion for my kids, and I had this realization that if I continued to live like this, it was not going to end well for me. Like, this is how people do not survive their spouse passing away. So I had a choice to make. I could either decide that that's how my life was going to be, or I could figure out some way, somehow, to get on the other side of this deep, overwhelming grief. And so for my kids, I decided that if there was a way, if it was possible, that I would figure out how I could get on the other side of grief and maybe even enjoy life again. So from there, I remember sitting on that bench, I closed my eyes and I literally said these words out loud. Nathan, I love you and I miss you and I can't do this anymore. I have to be able to move forward. And I opened my eyes and I went inside. And from there, like a maniac, I devoured everything I possibly could about grief. I interviewed hundreds of widows and widowers. I even launched a podcast where I interviewed many of them and asked them for their story and what helped them and what, helped them to feel that they could feel a sense of joy again after their loss. It's called The Brave Widow Show. You can find it on YouTube. And I would ultimately join the Faith-Based Coaching Academy. I would become certified by the Grief Recovery Institute. And like a nerd and a fanatic, I absorbed and learned and experimented everything I could, not only about grief and how to get over or through grief, around grief, however you want to look at it, but how can I actually build a life that I can enjoy again in the future? I'm so happy to share that as of today, I do love my life again. And when I think about that day, 3 years ago, essentially, when I had that moment in the garden, I didn't know if it was possible. And if I had heard someone else, I don't know that I would have believed them either. But I can tell you, I do love my life again. And I've been able to do so much healing and growing and do things I never even imagined in my future. I am now a real estate investor. I'm now a public speaker. I founded 3 companies. I got to meet Dave Ramsey in person and thank him for the work that he did in allowing me to not be burdened by debt when I lost my husband. I've been to 5 new countries since that day. And even just over a year ago, met and married the most amazing man who's so supportive. Like, he's going with me in a few weeks to the funeral directors annual convention to talk about Brave Widow and how we help grieving widows. Like, So amazing. And I gained a bonus son in the process. So, my approach to serving widows, I'm trained by a 20-year practicing psychologist on elements with counseling, psychology, coaching, and spirituality. And that is the reason why I joined her program, because I thought that was very unique that somebody would combine all of those things together. Um, but yeah, I've now been able to interact with widows in over 20 different countries, and have clients now that are in multiple countries as well, which is amazing. So, are you in the right place? You're here to learn about loneliness. If you want guidance, connection, to feel seen, and to stop pretending, you're in the right place. Now, you're not in the right place if you do not want to take action. Because ultimately, here's the thing, there's no magic pill, right? There's no quick fix, there's no magic pill. This is very deep, transformative work. And you get to decide. You get to decide that you're not going to do anything with the information I teach you. And quite honestly, you could spend hours on YouTube learning how to make friends, and you can have the information. But if you're not going to do anything with the information, if you're not going to implement it, it's not going to help you. Just the knowledge on its own isn't going to help you. So, when you're looking for true change, you must be willing to invest the time and the energy, and you must be willing to be open to trying things that are new or different or maybe even uncomfortable. So, when I think about why this is so hard, like, why is it so hard? Why, first of all, like, nobody gave us a roadmap. So, I have something called the 4 Seasons of Grief. You can find it on YouTube very easily, which is like the roadmap of deep grief to loving your life again. But when I think about like why that's so hard, like why is that not out there? Why is it so hard for widows to know what they need to do? What is the problem that's like exacerbating this loneliness? I boil it down to 3 main problems. Okay. The first is isolation. So, for most widows, the statistic is that widows will lose 75% of their social circle in the first year. Is that you guys? Put that in the chat. Have you lost your social circle? Did it change? Did people stop reaching out? They stopped contacting you? The second problem is that there's a lack of guidance. Okay. So, we have questions like, is what I'm experiencing normal? Am I going crazy? Where do I go for help? Can I still make friends? Like, who makes friends at my age? Everybody already has their friends, right? Can I actually find people who care about me? Maybe I'm too broken. Like, we don't have guidance. We have a lack of guidance. And the third problem is that we have lost our confidence. We lost our thought partner. We lost the person help us make decisions. We lost the person who was our safety net. And so now we have all this anxiety and fear and self-doubt. And so we have questions like, well, who wants to be my friend? I'm broken. I don't know how to make friends. I hate small talk. I don't have much to offer, okay? So when you think about what's feeding me loneliness, why it's so hard, it's because as widows, we are isolated, we don't have a lot of guidance, and we also have lost our confidence. So it's no wonder that we struggle with loneliness. Just going to check the comments real quick. Nancy says she's from Jersey Shore. After 57 years and the best husband ever, the loneliness takes every minute from your life. Oh, Nancy, I'm glad that you're here, but I'm sorry for your loss. Margaret is from Toronto. How to get through loneliness. Yes. Nancy worked in healthcare for 40 years. Nancy, amazing. Brian, hello from Oklahoma. Hello, Brian. So, as I was sitting in my own loneliness, I had this realization one day of like, I want friends and I want connection and I want people to be around me, but I also have a lot of problems. And I have a bunch of reasons why I can't make friends, right? I'm an introvert. I'm a hardcore introvert. If you've ever taken the Myers-Briggs test and you have extrovert and introvert, I'm like way over here. I need downtime. I like alone time. I don't mind being alone. I prefer it many times. Okay. I'm an introvert. I'm a homebody. I didn't really go anywhere. It's like work, home, kids. That's like it. I also hated small talk. I'm socially awkward. I didn't know what to say to people. I don't watch Netflix. I didn't keep up with the weather. I didn't know anything about sports scores, right? Like, I don't want to talk about something small. I want to, like, let's talk about your deepest fears. All I'd had was work and home and kids. My life was boring. Who would want to be my friend, right? Like, that's what I thought. But then I also wonder, like, how do you make friends at this age? Like, I was 38, 39 at this point. I'm like, everybody already has friends. Is there like an app now that people use to make friends? Where do you go to make friends? I traveled as a healthcare executive for years. And so my closest non family connections and friends were either people through my husband who fell off the face of the earth mostly, or people who I worked with who lived in different states. Like, they didn't live near me. Okay. But I also realized that I couldn't keep waiting for someone to just show up. Like, in my mind, I was like praying to God, like, I'm so incredibly lonely. I'm so isolated. Can't you just send someone to me? Just and then I remember thinking to myself, like, well, what do I expect? Do I expect like someone's just gonna knock on the door and be like, hi, God sent me here to be your new friend? Wouldn't that be kind of weird? Hello. I live out in the country on 40 acres on a dead end road with like three other neighbors. That might be a little weird if someone just showed up at my house. But I realized that was kind of my subconscious thought. Oh, if God wants me to have friends, he's just going to send them to me. Well, no, not exactly. Okay. So I'm going to teach you, I'm moving quickly. I'm going to keep moving quickly because I'm going to go against a lot of advice when people do webinars, and I'm going to teach you as much as I can in a short amount of time. Inside of, we have an hour together today. And so inside of Brave Widow, inside of the Academy and the membership, we actually did a 30-day challenge where people could strengthen a friendship, or they could build a new friendship. And so I don't have 30 days of a challenge to teach this to you today, but I'm going to do my best to cover a lot of ground. So if it feels overwhelming, this is being recorded. There will be a replay on YouTube. You can go back and watch it, take screenshots and take notes. It's okay. Rita says, this is true. You have to go out and meet people. I'm sending this to a widower friend of mine. Yes. Okay. So our solution, we have 3 simple steps to overcoming loneliness. Are you ready? Who's ready? Who's with me? I know the introverts are like, the first one says meet people. I am not with you. Jure, hi, are you a Christian? Yes, I am. All right, Nancy is ready. Let's go. Okay, first step, number 1, meet people. Okay, I said these were simple steps. I didn't say this was going to be easy, but it is going to be simple. Okay, do you know the difference? Simple, not always easy. But the first thing is we're going to meet people. So, how do we meet people? Carrie says me. Carrie is ready to go. Okay, so when I'm teaching my clients how to meet people, we look at people in different categories, okay? So the first category is we look at your existing friends and family, maybe relationships that have faded away, that have fizzled out. And we choose maybe 2 or 3 people that you've always known or have known for a while that you want to strengthen that relationship, like maybe give it some life back, okay? The second category that we want to look at is other widows and grievers. people who are on the same journey as you. And the reason we want people from that category is because then you don't have to feel like you have to explain yourself all the time, right? No one else has your same exact experience, but I don't have to explain to other widows what it means to have lost a spouse. Like, they just get it, right? They get the fact that their identity has changed. They get the fact that everybody just disappeared. They get the fact that now all my dreams I had for the future have died with my person. Like, they get that. I don't have to explain it. And so it's super helpful to have, even if it's one or two friends of other widows or grievers, where you can feel seen and understood and not have to do a lot of explaining. You can just have a conversation. The third area where you want to meet people are brand new connections. So, not necessarily grief, okay? This could be pickleball people. This would be people at church. This would be people at a real estate investor meeting, which is where I went. AJ said that would be helpful. Yeah. So you want to form at least a couple new connections because you also want to be around people who share similar values or interests, but they're not looking for the past you. Okay. Your current family and friends, to an extent, are somewhat waiting for you to go back to the way that you were, right? When's Emily going to be better? When's Emily going back to normal? When is she going to start doing the things she used to do? What they don't realize until they learn is that you're never going back to the person that you were, because you're not the same person that you were. So it is helpful to have new connections of people who share values, interests, hobbies, who see you as you are right now, and they like you and they want to be friends with you just like you are right now. They have no expectation of you being any different, no expectation of you being perfect, of how you used to be. They don't know you as Emily and Nathan. They just know Emily. And it's really helpful to have a couple of friends in your life who know you, appreciate you, and enjoy being around you. So where do you go to meet these people? Have you guys tried going out to meet people? I'm curious. I'd love to know in the chat. This is where we call it Brave Widow, because we have to be brave. We have to go meet people, right? We feel the fear, we feel the anxiety, and we do it anyway. Okay, so some ideas of where to meet people. Feel free to screenshot this, or you watch the replay, you can screenshot it. So places like meetup.com, eventbrite.com, Facebook has an events tab on there. You could Google classes near me, events near me. You could take a lesson in something. Like, this is where I encourage people to just try things, like, even if you don't even think that you have an interest, okay? Like, when we did the Make a Friend 30-day challenge, I think I found a Bitcoin class and a falconers class, like a falcon, like the bird. I'm like, what are there, like falcon collectors here? What is this? Okay. I'm not really interested in falcons, but I don't know. I kind of want to check it out, right? This is where you get to be a little adventurous, okay? Places where you share values. Maybe it's a church, maybe it's volunteering somewhere, maybe it's a company that has a mission that you can get behind. Places like hobbies, like line dancing, pickleball, pottery, yoga, things that are goal oriented, conferences. I went to Dave Ramsey's Entree Leadership Conference. There was 3,000 people, and the only one I knew was Dave Ramsey. Okay. I went totally by myself, and I asked a stranger to take my picture. Okay. Traveling. There are widow travel groups. There are solo travel groups. There's solo women travel groups. There are adult only travel groups. So you can sign up to be part of these groups and you can travel and you can meet people as you are traveling around with them. Typically, people who travel like to travel. And so if you're a traveler or you want to get into that, this is a great, safe way to where you don't have to organize everything. You can like show up and go with the group. Okay. So these are all places that you can go to find people. And when I did the 30-day make a friend challenge, we actually carved out time and I had everybody start looking on their computer and we started writing down ideas of places that we could go. And I would love for someone to tell me a place other than Antarctica, okay, where you cannot find a place to try to go to meet people. I live in a town with 9,000 people. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay. Remember, it's simple. Simple. Okay. So, first one, meet people. Second one, make friends. Oh, like getting a little squirmy. How do I make friends? Okay. I met the people. I'm going, and there is people there, but I'm a wallflower. I don't like small talk. I don't like talking to people. I don't know what to say. Well, here's my number one hack, and we're going to talk about it more on the next slide here, okay? To make friends with other people, you're trying to make a connection with someone else, okay? And so, my number one tip for you is to be curious. Don't worry so much about what you're going to say about yourself or, oh, I'm not charming or interesting or funny or any of those things. It doesn't matter. Be curious about the other person. Ask them questions. When they share some information, dig a little deeper, ask more questions, give them time to talk, give them attention. Think about how hard it is today to have a conversation with another human who isn't distracted, who's not looking at their phone, who's not looking around, who's not trying to turn the conversation back to them. Like, oh, you're going to go on a vacation? Well, I went on a vacation last year and da 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 da. Like, gosh, sometimes it's just hard to be able to talk about yourself, right? So, being curious about the other person takes the pressure off of you. Because guess what? Now you're not the one talking. You're just the one asking the questions and putting the spotlight back on that other person. Sarah says, I'm too curious. Now my mother in law never asks me questions and talks about herself nonstop. Well, Sarah, yeah, I mean, but in the beginning, this is really great. And we're going to find you some other friends who can navigate a conversation. Okay. So as you're connecting with other people, be curious. And here are some conversation hacks. Okay. Here's a thought for you to lean into whenever you're going to these places. I am not here to be interested. I'm here to be interested. This is something I learned from Stacey Bayman, who teaches life coaches. Okay. I'm not here to be the interesting person. I'm here to be interested in you. Okay. So asking people questions. People love to talk about themselves. So let them. Notice what they bring up about their interests, their hobbies, their dreams, their goals, their likes, and ask them open ended questions. Okay. So, one of the things that I teach my clients to do is like when someone says to you, like, you asking them, oh, what do you like to do for fun? And the person's like, oh, I like to ski. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't like to ski, you might be like, okay, well, this conversation is not going to go anywhere, right? But then what you could do is the ski is a clue. Okay. You're going to pick up this clue and you're going to go, oh, you like to ski? You could ask them a ton of questions about that, right? You could ask like, Oh, how did you get into skiing? What do you love about skiing? How long have you been doing it? What would you tell someone who's never skied before? I've always been kind of afraid to do that. Do you think I could do it? What's the best place to go? Do you have a bucket list? Like I could sit here and randomly think of 30 questions to ask someone about skiing, even though I've never been and I don't really have any interest to go, right? But be curious, want to understand the other person. And the reason we do this is because we're trying to build a true connection, right? We want to go deeper than just having that drive-by conversation of like, oh, hi, how are you? I'm great. How are you? Okay, great. Yeah, that's great. No, we want to dig in. We want to learn like what makes that person tick. Why would they be interested in that? What is something that they're looking forward to? What's something they're excited about? What's something like you want to light them up on the inside? Okay? Because we want to build a connection with them, and also we want to leave them with this feeling of like, oh my gosh, that was like the most amazing conversation. I want to have more. And what will happen over time, and Sarah, maybe not with your mother-in-law, as you mentioned, but what will happen over time is people will start to realize, like, whoa, wait a minute, I've been talking a lot, but I don't really know much about this person. So I need to ask this person some more questions. Or you will be able to share, like, oh, you traveled to Yellowstone last year. I went to Yellowstone a couple years and it was amazing. And now you guys have this connection point. Okay. But by being curious about the other person, it takes the pressure off of you to think about, like, oh, I got to entertain this person and come up with something to say. No, give them attention, give them space, give them what 99% of people will never give them: attention, a desire to learn about who they are and why they do the things they do, and all of that, right? Okay. So, when we're talking with someone, when we meet someone, we're always looking for what makes us similar and what makes us different. Okay. So if I tell you, oh, I live in rural Arkansas. If you live in a rural small town, might be like, oh, me too. If you live in a big city, you might go, oh, well, we don't really have that in common, right? If I say, oh, I lived in Cincinnati for 3 years, then you might go, oh, okay, yeah, we have that in common. I lived in Toledo. We both live in Ohio. That's cool. People are always looking for little connection points that make you different or similar to them. You do this all the time without even thinking about it. Okay. Someone shows up to an event and they've got your favorite team's jersey on. You instantly think, oh yeah, that person a Razorback fan. Yeah, go Hogs. You're just like, I like that person. They wore a Razorback jersey. I like that person. So your goal, and again, this is where I could probably spend an hour just on this topic. Okay. So I'm just going to give you the high level. But your goal is to pick up the clues, to ask questions, to find some connection points, some things that other people have in common with you. And so for those of you who can't see my screen, it's things like having things like your vision, your goals, your dreams, your beliefs, your interests, your hobbies, your values, your priorities, your activities. Whoa. It's a lot of different things that you could pick up on about the other person, or that you could share, like leaving little breadcrumbs. You could share this about yourself with the other person. So when people ask you, like, oh, what did you do this weekend? What do we tend to say? Oh, not much. I didn't do much. Well, your weekend was like 2 whole days. So you did something. And so when we have a conversation with people, we want to leave them little breadcrumbs as potential connection points. So we want to give them more detail. So we might say something like, oh, well, I made my favorite breakfast ever. which is like fried eggs and you add a little bacon and cheese, and it was like so good. Then I started watching this true crime show on Netflix. Do you watch true crime? You know, like any little detail, as insignificant as it might feel, could be a connection point with somebody else. It might be a detail you share where the other person's like, oh, yeah, me too. I love true crime. What did you watch? Was it good? Okay. So when you're trying to make friends with people, you're trying to find these connection points, you're trying to get to know more about them and decide, like, is this someone that I would want to pursue a friendship with, pursue a relationship with? Not Coop says, not sure I want friends, would love to find my new person if they exist. Well, you can use the same thing to connect with other people. Carrie's like, it seems like it's too much work. I'm gonna talk about that, Carrie, in just a second. Okay. Okay. Our 3 simple steps. We got to meet people. We want to make friends. Number 3, we want to build relationships. You're like, wow, this went from a little bit scary to like feeling like Carrie. This is just too much work. Well, here's the reality. Any strong relationship requires effort. It requires work. It requires proactive planning. And you might have been at a point in a relationship at some point with your spouse where you're like, we're just 2 roommates living together. Like we like talk, but we're not like creating life together. We don't intentionally go on dates. We don't plan anything together. And so it just kind of feels like bleh. So even the best of relationships, whether it's with your spouse, it's with your close friends, it's with your own family, your parents, your kids or whoever, relationships require effort. They require planning and they require like a little bit of work. Yes, it does. That's why we don't need 30 friends. We want like 2 or 3 friends. Okay. Sarah asks, what about kids? I can't get my nieces and nephews to open up much. Okay, so Sarah, with kids, the best thing that I have learned about that is to spend time doing what they want to do, which most likely is not what you want to do. Doing things with them, showing a genuine interest in them, and not being in advice mode like ever, unless they ask for your advice. Not reacting when they tell you like off the wall things that you don't agree with. But that's one of the best things is like doing things together that they want to do. Miss T says, Emily, you've helped me so much. I watch so much of your content. Thank you. You are welcome. Okay, we're still on relationships. Okay, meet people, make friends, build relationships. So how do you build a relationship? Okay. Building a relationship. So here's where you have to be the awkward weirdo. Okay. And I say that a little tongue in cheek, where you want to put a specific invite together. Okay. This is what I teach my clients is not to say, oh, we should do lunch sometime. Oh, we should do coffee sometime. Because how often do we say that? All the time. We should do something together. Yeah, we should. Yeah, we should. Doesn't go anywhere. And so what you want to do is specifically ask the other person, like time, thing, place, however you want to do it. Like, let's say you meet someone and you guys are hitting it off. You've got some good connection points and you're like, hey, I would love to get to know you better. I love eating Mexican food. Would you like to go to lunch with me on Friday at my favorite Mexican place? And we can, get to know each other, like hang out more and just have fun. When you make it specific, like when you put a specific day and time to it, what happens is the other person will be like almost forced to indicate to you whether or not they're interested in building a friendship with you. Okay. So when you tell someone like, oh, we should do lunch sometime, and they go, oh, yeah, totally. Give me a call. We'll do lunch. That doesn't really mean much of anything. But when you say to someone like, hey, would you like to go to lunch on Friday? And we could, just get to know you a little bit better, hang out together, have some more laughs, like however you want to say it. Do you want to do something on Friday? Then what it does is, let's say they can't go on Friday. They might go, oh, Friday, I'm super busy on Friday. But then they can say, what about Tuesday? Or what about Wednesday, right? Like if they're motivated to spend time with you, they'll tweak your invite and come back to you with a different time, right? Or they might say, oh, I need to check my calendar. If they continue to avoid you, they continue to like not really answer you, like you have your answer. Versus being like, well, I don't know. I told them if they wanted to do something, like we could do it, but they've never invited me or they've never brought it up. Like you have to be the person to specifically make the invite. Is it fair as a widow that you've lost your social circle? No. Is it fair that you have to be the person putting together the invite? No. But if you want friendships and you want to build a relationship, then that is what we do. And so you get to decide. You get to decide if that's what you want to do. So making a specific invitation will give you context clues of like whether or not this person wants to meet up with you, spend time with you, hang out with you. And then as you spend more time together, you can start to really build that relationship. One of my clients, she just tickled me to death. She said, she said, I went to church. I think she went to church. I went to church and this one person was just annoying me. They kept talking to me and kept talking to me and kept talking to me. And it was just really annoying me. And then finally it dawned on me like, oh, maybe they want to be my friend. And so I asked her to go do this thing together next week. And she said, yes. Like, great. You sometimes have to be the person to make the invitation. I have friends who love me and they will never make the invitation. They'll say, check your calendar and let me know when we can do lunch. Check your calendar and let me know when we can get together. You're the one that's always busy. Let me know. But the instant I say, hey, what are you doing next Friday? What are you doing on Tuesday? Hey, let's go have dinner somewhere. They're like, yes, let's go do it. Yeah. People just, they do better if you make the specific invite, okay? I think I've hammered that one enough. Sarah says, you have to be willing to feel the rejection too, though, and that's tough. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think most people are fairly gentle about their rejection, if you want to think of it that way. But what I teach my clients to really lean into is like, I'm looking for the people, I'm praying for people, I'm praying to God to bring friends into my life, to bring the right people into my life. And I know that everyone I meet isn't going to be that person. So I'm just looking for the people that God is bringing into my life, right? And so I don't see it as a rejection of like, oh, I'm not good enough or I'm not funny enough or they don't like me. It's just like, oh, that's just not the person that is going to be in my friend circle. Not everyone gets access to me. Not everyone gets to know how I'm feeling, what I'm doing, what the kids are doing, all of that, right? Like we want to be guarded with some of that. And so we are just looking for the people that are meant to be our friends. And the person saying no doesn't mean that it's anything wrong with us or bad with us or any of that. It just means they're not the person meant to be our friend. That's okay. We'll meet some other people. So I put in here, if you're in Zoom, some conversation hacks, like some things to be able to ask, like asking them, what's something fun that you've done lately or you're looking forward to? What's the teenage version of you like? What were you like as a teenager, basically? What do you wish people would ask you about more often? That's always a fun one. What's something you're really passionate about right now? What's something that you're looking forward to in the next year? Those are just kind of fun questions as you're like already starting to get to know somebody and you want to get to know them at a deeper level or you want to open up deeper conversations. These are just some good ones to start with. So I want you to know that creating a life with intentional connection is possible for you. And it doesn't matter what age you are. I have clients that are all different ages. A life of intentional connection is possible for you, but there has to be that intentional connection. And here's the thing, like, you can learn about it, you can read about it, you can think about it, you can plan it, you can reason why it's not fair and why you shouldn't have to do this and why it's too much work and all of those things. And you can still be lonely. Or you can be part of a journey. Like, if you are rebuilding your social circle, you can do it alone, which often leaves us feeling lost, lonely, or unsure of what we're doing. Or you can rebuild your social circle in a way where you feel completely supported. You feel clear, connected, and confident in what you're doing. So I'd love to tell you guys about Brave Widow Academy and what we do in there and what that looks like. But I also want to make sure that I've answered any questions that you have. I would love to know if any of this has resonated with you or is helpful to you. And you can put your questions in the chat, or if you're on Zoom, you can put them in the Q&A box and I will make sure that I answer those for you. These are simple steps. They're not always easy, but it is a very simple process. Thank you, Miss T. You're amazing. You sent me a donut on TikTok. I have no idea what a donut is, but thank you for the donut. Carrie asks, what if they're hiding something like alcoholism? Okay, Carrie, here's something I want you to know that you will learn in coaching. I want you to just observe something. So when you are thinking about doing something new or something different, something that unfamiliar, something uncomfortable, your brain is going to give you all the reasons why you shouldn't do it. Okay? So I just want you to observe. That was one thought your brain kicked up to you. Too much work. Not going to do it. What if they're hiding something? Not going to do it. You could probably ask me 10 more questions. Like, well, what if it's a serial killer? What if they laugh at me? What if I feel rejected? What if this is going to happen and that's going to happen and this is going to happen? That is your brain acting normal, which is crazy. I know. But this is why what we do in the academy and what we do in coaching is so important, because I can let you know, like, Carrie, I just want you to observe what's happening in your mind right now. Like, your brain, not just your brain, most brains, including mine, are like a toddler. And we don't want to have to do things that are uncomfortable or that are work or that feel hard, right? So I always tell my students, like, imagine your brain is like a little 2-year-old that doesn't want to be picked up. And they're like, no. And they're like falling limp and they're like flailing around, right? Like, if you've ever tried to pick up a toddler that doesn't want to be picked up, it's like wrestling an alligator, okay? That is your brain when you're trying to do something new or unfamiliar. Your brain's like, no, I don't want to do this, okay? And so it's going to tell you all the things that it can tell you to get you to stop, which is all the what ifs. Well, I won't know where to go. I won't know what to say. I won't know what to do. I don't know. I'm confused and I'm embarrassed. But I couldn't do it. I'm an introvert. I couldn't do it because I'll probably meet someone who's hiding something. Like, your brain is going to do that. And I am the coach in your corner that's like, okay, yeah, that's normal. And here's how we get around it. Here's how we step forward anyway. Here's how we say, thank you, brain, for keeping me safe and alive and looking out for me. And we're going to put all those fears over here. And I'm going to be afraid and I'm going to go meet some new people anyway. Because I have a vision for the future. Very encouraging that I'm on the right path. Thank you. You're so welcome. Carrie, other Carrie. Okay, so I would love to invite you to the Academy. And the Academy is a 6-month program where we cover everything from healing your heart when you're deep in grief to rebuilding trust in yourself, rebuilding your confidence, to meeting people and making friends, to finding a sense of purpose and meaning for your life again and for your future. And so inside the academy, we meet every single week, usually 2 hours a week. And our next round of the academy starts on November 10th, but we have a lot of things that we're going to be doing before then in the meantime. Okay. And I'm just going to share with you on my screen some comments that people have said in our group and what they have been enjoying about the academy so far. I'm not going to read those. You can look at those, and I'm just swiping away the spammers over here on TikTok. Okay. But we meet on Mondays, and most people in the academy love that because it kind of sets their tone for the rest of the week. And they learn things, they get in the right mindset, and it really is just a great way to kick off the week. So normally, as of October, my what I would charge for the academy or what it would cost if I were to do this one-on-one with you for 6 months would be $8,000. That's what I charge for one-on-one coaching. Okay. And what I used to charge up until then was $5,000 to meet with people one-on-one and to coach them through each of these things and to help them come up with a plan. But with the academy, it's 6 months of group coaching, of all of our recorded content, of the Make a Friend Challenge and everything that I shared there, to what I've taught you today and even more. And that is $3,000. But wait, there's more. Because I told you I was going to include some bonuses. And if you are interested in signing up, then what I would invite you to do, you can sign up directly on Brave Widow at bravewidow.com/academy, or you can also schedule a consult call. And on a consult call, I have a standard set of questions that I ask to understand where you are in your journey of widowhood. And I help you create your own plan of next steps of like, okay, here's what I would focus on. So, if you're early in grief, maybe we focus on healing your heart first. If you've already done a lot of grief work, maybe we focus on building relationships first, or we develop the plan with you and I email it to you so you have it. So you have it. You could take it and you could implement it on your own. That's completely an option that you have. So if you want to schedule a consult, it's not a big sales pressury thing. It's just a way for me. It's actually a way I serve and give back to people because I do a lot of them for free. I do all of them for free, but I do a lot of them just to help people figure out their next step because they feel stuck. Okay. And so if you sign up for the academy or if you sign up for a consult before next Friday, so before midnight Central Time on Friday, October the 10th, then I'm going to include a few bonuses. So one bonus would be we are going to do a deep dive on the Make a Friend Challenge. So everything that I covered with you today, we're going to have a longer work session and you're going to have worksheets and we're going to go step by step. And we're going to say, let's identify the people that you could build a relationship with now. Let's map out the places you could go to meet new people. Like we're going to look them up on Google and we're going to find the places that you're going to go. And you're going to come up with your plan in the next 30 days to either strengthen a relationship or build an entirely new friendship. Okay. So we're going to spend the 2 or 3 hours together of doing that deep dive so that you are equipped to be able to know where to go to meet people or know what relationship you want to strengthen, that you want to build up, and so that you can do that. And we'll follow along over the next 30 days because you'll be part of the academy and we'll know where you're at. The second bonus is a personal onboarding. So, as part of the consult process, we do an audit across all of the Brave Widow pillars. I help you come up with your plan for what your next steps are and moving forward. And I help you identify which season you're in the 4 seasons of grief. Okay. And I send all of that to you. I do that in my consult calls, but for people who sign up, I do an onboarding call just to make sure that they get a similar experience if they've never had the consult and they haven't had that before. Doing that as a bonus. And then the third one is I can't share all the details of what's in there, but I do a swag box for Brave Widow Academy swag, merch, whatever you want to call it. But it's good. It's good. I get good feedback on it. And I can't spill all the beans, okay? But you're gonna get a mystery box no, it's a box. Mystery box of some Brave Widow Academy swag that you can proudly wear as part of Brave Widow Academy. So to get those bonuses, you would need to enroll in the academy or schedule your consult before next Friday. And the reason I do that is because we're going to be having the Make a Friend challenge session coming up soon. And we are going to be doing some pre-academy kickoff calls. Okay. And so my goal is to inspire you to take action and not just keep waiting and keep waiting and keep waiting. Nancy says, Emily, you seem lovely. I've heard all your suggestions. I think your program is geared more towards young widows. Wish you the best. Nancy, thank you for sharing that. I don't know what you're considering young, but we have lots of clients that are a variety of ages. And I don't even know the oldest one, but I would say well into their 70s. So, I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to think of how to say that. The average age of a widow is 59, and I have widows on both sides of that. So yeah, doesn't matter how old you are. Okay, so I would love to see you inside the academy for those of you who want to join. And here's my guarantee. Okay, if you show up to the academy calls, if you do the work, do the homework, if you complete your form, that's your homework, is you show up, I give you 10 minutes at the beginning of the call, you fill out your progress tracker, that lets me know how your week has gone and where you might need additional support, okay? So you show up to the calls, you do the work. If you still feel at the end of 6 months like I've made no progress, this isn't helping me, it's not working, I will work with you personally for free until you do feel like you have made progress. Okay? For free until you do. There's no time limit. Okay? That is my guarantee. That is my promise to you. That is how much I believe in what we do inside a Brave Widow, whether it's the academy, it's one-on-one coaching, it doesn't matter. You will make progress, or I will work with you for free until you do. Okay? So if you would love, of course you would love it. If you would like to learn more, then sign up for a consult call and let's just have a conversation. And I will help you come up with your plan. There's no pressure to sign up at all. But I would love to see you in the academy, and I would love to be able to share more with you about that. So I don't see any other questions here. Nancy says, married 57 years at 18, hard to start over at this age. Nancy, yeah. And in many ways, you're not really starting over. I can see why it feels that way. I know that's why it feels that way. But I also think that this is just the next part of your story and of where you are. Okay, answered that one. Okay, any other questions? Okay, you guys have been awesome as always. Thank you for joining me. I would love to see you in the academy. I would love to get to know you on a consult. Nancy, just schedule a consult. I'm not going to pressure you to sign up, But I would love to get to know you more, and I would love to be able to help you with just deciding like what a good next step would be for you. And you can take all of my notes and you can take my whole plan that I would lay out for you, and you can decide if you want to do it on your own. And I will be here. Or you can decide to do it with me, or you can be like some of my clients and say, okay, I've been waiting, over 2 years, Emily, I'm coming back. I'm ready to start now. I'm just like, okay, let's do it. Like there's no pressure here. All right. Thank you guys. You have been awesome. Until next time, I will see you then. Bye. Thank you, Marshall.